Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading Katsuki Listener by me. So let's get into it. Katsuki felt like he was not a very good boyfriend to you. He knew he was not doing his best. He knew that out there were 100 people, and maybe even more, who could do better at this whole relationship thing. He wasn't good at it. He did not expect himself to be. In fact, he knew that he was very lacking. He didn't know how to be affectionate. He didn't know how to be honest with his own feelings. He didn't know how to be transparent with his own thoughts, and found them a vulnerability more than anything else. And in a relationship, that just was not the way that you were supposed to go about things. He was supposed to want to be vulnerable with you. He was supposed to be comfortable with that. He was supposed to do many things that he just was not. And he had no idea how to be comfortable with that either. Feeling like he was just the most horrible boyfriend to ever exist. Especially when you deserved the very best, and he was not giving you that. The two of you had your own petty fights. Fights that were completely useless, that served no purpose, except just existing. And maybe he liked the fights. Maybe he liked being honest in the only way he knew how. But he didn't realize how much they scared you, how much they terrified you, and why those fights between the two of you could be the very end of your relationship, or at least, almost, the end of it. He was not the most mature person around. He did not want to be the bigger person, and he thought it was a foolish idea to try and be that. You, on the other hand, were very forgiving, and you always tried your best to be understanding, to be the bigger person when the other in front of you could not. However, when it came to your romantic partner, Katsuki, you had much trouble with that. To you, those silly petty fights, they held a lot of weight underneath them. There was a lot that was spoken between the lines, and you could perfectly hear every word, and your mind supplied in with the information, perhaps the wrong one, but it was what your mind told you, and it was what you believed at the time. You believed every word of what it told you, and that's why when you began yelling, going closer, and his body language seemed to be more aggressive, your brain just supplied in the rest, and you thought he was going to hurt you or worse. You were trembling, doing your best to stay in your place, not to look like you were scared. But it was quite obvious, because one moment Katsuki was losing it from the argument that the two of you were having, and the other he was going still. His eyes cooling down, the anger in them gone completely, as he let out a soft breath, looking at you. Lion, God, I didn't mean any of this. I'm sorry, okay? You gotta listen to me. I didn't mean to scare you like that. He didn't mean to. That didn't mean that it didn't happen, because it did. You were terrified, and it was because of him. Oyan, don't look at me like that. You know he didn't mean it. He shook your head and turned away. He didn't want to look at him, not because you made him sad, but because you weren't able to do that physically. It hurt you to. And so as you turned away, crying into your own hands, Katsuki felt his heart shatter into tiny pieces. And then, he slowly and gently put a hand on your arm, massaging it gently. I don't know what I can say, but I'm sorry. You know I am. You know I'd never want to hurt you. I'd never want to make you cry like that. Oyan, please, he begged. hoping that you would be able to give him one more chance to prove to you that he would never want to make you feel that way. He only wants to bring you happiness. But sometimes, all he brought you was pain. There was nothing you could do about that. Some parts of him were so ugly and they were not easy to fix. You knew that when you picked him, when you chose him to be yours. And so, as the two of you stayed quiet, and eventually, he went into his arms and started crying. Katsuki let his own guilt consume him. He felt like he was the worst person around. He was disgusting for hurting you like this, for letting you feel this way, for scaring you. He didn't know why things weren't so easy for him as they were for others. He hopes that he was different, so that you could make you happier. But he isn't. But right now, he knows there is no other choice to make. He swears on his own heart and soul that he will do whatever it takes. He'll work on himself as much as he has to be able to make you feel safe again with him. The two of you take a break in your relationship. You don't break up. You tell him you need some time to think, that it most likely will be a break, and he just needs some distance, and he's more than okay with that. You need some distance. You need to be far away from him, because he was undeserving of having you around, and he knows that better than anyone. You wouldn't say the same, but he knows it, and he believes it. So that's why, during that break, he does the most surprising thing ever. And signed up for therapy. You know, he wants to be able to manage his own anger. The anger that would get out of hand. That scared you. That made him stagnate as a hero, but most importantly, it scared the person he held dear to his heart. It scared you when he shouldn't be able to do that. He shouldn't. He never wanted to. So just you know that no matter what happens between the two of you, you'll always be first in his heart. Even though he has trouble showing it. Even though he may scare you. And even though he may not earn a second chance. He'll do his best to at least be deserving of your time.